Good evening, children.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, children. Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening, ma'am.
Very nice. All right, we are going to solve a mock exam paper today. You can see the first question on your screen. Try it. Yeah, what's answer? What's the ratio?
2:1, ma'am.
2:1. The least composite number is 4. The least prime number is 2. And the ratio of the LCM of 4 and 2 and the HCF of 4 and 2. The ratio is 2:1. That is the least composite number is 4. The least prime number is 2. LCM of 4 and 2 is 4. HCF of 4 and 2 is 2. So LCM is 4, HCF is 2. Ratio is 2:1. The value of K for which the lines coincide is. So what is the condition for coincident lines? Don't solve
A1
the
by
equation.
A2.
B1 by A2 is equal to B1 by B2 is equal to
C1 by
Yeah.
C2.
Yes, use this. Don't try to solve the two equations. Use this condition. A1 by A2 is equal to B1 by B2 is equal to C1 by C2. For coincident lines, what's the value of K?
9, ma'am.
9. The value of K is 9, correct. A girl walks 200 meters towards east and then 150 meters towards north. The distance of the girl from the starting point is
250 meters, ma'am.
it's a square root of what?
62500.
That was very fast. So east and north, east, north. So the girl starts here, starts from here, or some distances are given. What are the distances, children? Okay. No, I don't remember the numbers. You need to find, this is the starting point, this is the starting point, and this is the end point. You need to find the distance between these 2 points, which is nothing but the length of the hypotenuse. North, east. So you can also take it like this. Like going towards east, if you feel like it, she's going towards east. This is east, right? So she's walking towards east and then she's walking towards north. So you could take it like this. She's walking towards east and then she walks towards north. This is the distance between, this is the starting point and this is the end point. And this is the distance between the start and the end point, which is the length of the hypotenuse. So somebody said 250, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. The lengths of the diagonals of a rhombus are 24 centimeters and 32 centimeters. Then the length of the altitude of the rhombus is.
Ma'am. Ma'am, I've solved most of these questions and I remember most of the answers. Ma'am.
Have we done the same thing in the class, children?
Not in our class, ma'am, but in other sums.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Oh,
So I kind of remember some of the answers, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
okay. Just have a look at the other questions, children.
This one is new, ma'am.
This one?
This one is new, ma'am.
Okay, yeah. Maybe few are like that. Let's see. The sample paper released by the board, so probably teachers have discussed in the class. Are you saying that?
Ma'am, practice questions was given by our school.
Yes. No, ma'am. In our school, they have posted some questions, ma'am.
Okay, okay, fine. That's what this paper is released by the board. Okay, fine. Sample paper released by the board, this is. So how do we do this? How do you find the area of the rhombus? What are the two formulae to find the area of a rhombus?
D1 by 2 whole square plus D2 by 2 whole square.
Half product of diagonals and base into height. Half product of diagonals and base into height. Area of rhombus is equal to half D1, D2, D1, D2. So find the area of the rhombus. Tell me the answer.
$384, ma'am.
384, huh?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so area is equal to 384. Area is equal to 384. Now area can also be found using the formula base into height. Base into height. Base into height is equal to 384. Base into height is equal to 384. Now the base can be found using Pythagoras theorem. One diagonal measures how much? 24, I think. So this part will be 12. And the other diagonal, what's the length of the other diagonal?
32.
32.
Yes.
ma'am.
So this will be 16. 16. The length of the diagonals are 24 and 32. So half their lengths, 12 and 16. So base is nothing but the side of the rhombus. Base is nothing here, base into height. Base must be substituted with the side of the rhombus. So we don't know the side, so we have to find the side using Pythagoras theorem. So this is, what is a 16 square, 256 and 144. 420. So you have to find the side of the rhombus using Pythagoras theorem and then substitute that here. So base is 20 into height, which is the altitude, is equal to 384. Is equal to 384. First, find the area using the formula half d1 d2. So area is 384. Area can also be found using the formula base into height. So base into height is 384. We need to find the height. Altitude we have to find. Then for that we need the base, and that can be found using Pythagoras theorem. Don't take 24 and 32 by mistake, children. Half of 24, 12. Half of 32, 16 will be the sides of this right triangle. So what's the value of h?
19.2.
19.2. Okay, I'll just go with you. 19.2.
Ma'am, can we not take the diagonal as the base, ma'am?
No. That's not the base. I'll show you. No, diagonal is not taken as the base. Base is the side of the base is the side of the rhombus, and the height is the distance between the parallel sides. Altitude is the distance between the parallel sides.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah. At most one head. What do we mean by at most one head?
Maximum.
Maximum. One head. No, I'll not explain.
Or-
Let's see. No, I'll tell you that later. Tell me the answer for this first. At most one head. What's the answer? What are the outcomes, children? When two coins are tossed, what are the outcomes? HH.
HTTH.
And, yeah. At most one head.
1/2, ma'am.
Okay.
No, at most 1 minute means it is 3/4, ma'am.
3/4.
3/4.
Okay. So at most one head meaning one head or less than one head. At least one head means one head or more than one head. At least one. At least one means one or more than one. At most one means one or less than one. At least one means one or more than one. At most one is one or less than one. One or less than one meaning 1 and 0. So you have to take this outcomes where we have 0 heads and one head. Because both this represents at most one head. At most one head. At most one head. At most one head means one head, one or less than one. At most one head meaning one head or less than one head. Less than one head is 0 heads. So here this will not count because this is 2 heads. One head, 0 heads. So 3 outcomes out of 3 favorable out of total 4. So 3 by 4 is the probability. What's the ratio AMS to PN?
It's the same portion.
Is it? Same, no? 4:9. 16:81. 3:2. 2:3. Yes, children.
Not sure, ma'am.
Not sure.
Ma'am, it's 2:3, ma'am.
2:3. Why?
Ma'am, I think it's 2:3, ma'am.
Because AB is to PQ is 2:3, ma'am, and we can take as a ABM and a APN, ma'am. So we will get us. So these triangles are similar, ma'am, and by that corresponding sides are equal. We can get us 2 by 3 is equal to 2 by 3, ma'am.
Perfect. Perfect. So the ratio of the in two similar triangles, the ratio of the corresponding sides is the same. That is, whatever is the when two triangles are similar, you can find the ratio of their corresponding sides. With the values given, you can find the ratio of their corresponding sides. This ratio will be equal to the ratio of the corresponding medians, corresponding altitudes, corresponding angle bisector segments, and also the ratio of the areas of the perimeters of the two triangles. When two triangles are similar, the ratio of the corresponding sides, the ratio of their corresponding sides will be the same as the ratio of their corresponding altitudes. Ratio will be the same. Will be the same as the ratio of their corresponding medians, the ratio of their corresponding angle bisector segments, the ratio of the perimeters of these two similar triangles. All these will have the same ratio. That is, whatever is the ratio of the corresponding sides. All these ratios will be equal. What is different is the ratio of their areas. That will be the square of the earlier ratio. So if the ratio of the corresponding sides is 3 by 5. Supposing the ratio of the corresponding sides is 3 by 5. The ratio of their areas will be 9 by 25. 3 by 5 the whole square, 9 by 25. Only area, with respect to area will be the square of the ratio of their corresponding sides. So here it is, we can find AB by PQ. AB and PQ are the corresponding sides of the two similar triangles. You can see it there. AB and PQ are the corresponding sides of the two similar triangles. So AB by PQ is 2 by 3. And what is AM by PN? AM is the A and P are the. Can you do you understand when I say that AM and PN are the corresponding altitudes? Because AM altitude from A, from vertex A corresponds to the vertex P. Vertex A of triangle ABC corresponds to vertex P of triangle PQR. So AM is the altitude from A. Why altitude? Because it's given here. And PN is the altitude from P, where A and P are the corresponding vertices. So these are the corresponding altitudes of the two triangles. Their ratio will be the same as the ratio of their corresponding sides. So AB by PQ, that's the ratio of the corresponding sides, 2 by 3. So AM by PN also will be 2 by 3. Am I clear, children?
Yes, ma'am.
Ratio of corresponding sides, corresponding altitudes, corresponding medians, corresponding angle bisector segments. Corresponding means this one. Now, how do we know that AM and PN are the corresponding altitudes? Because ABC is similar to PQR, vertex A corresponds to vertex P, vertex B corresponds to vertex Q, vertex C corresponds to vertex R. So the altitude or median or the angle bisector of A will correspond to the altitude from P or the median from P or the angle bisector of P. So AM by PN will be equal to 2 by 3. Yes, children. 2 sine square beta minus cos square beta is equal to 2. Then beta is
Ma'am, 90.
Srinivasan. Yes.
90. Ma'am.
Yeah, read out your steps.
Ma'am, I use P table. Ma'am.
You used
Trigonometric table.
you substituted the values and you checked when you get 2 and you're giving the answer from that, is it?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am. I will give him.
No, children, not like that. It's a smart job, but how do you work it otherwise?
Ma'am,
Yeah.
ma'am, we'll put the 2 sine square beta in the right side. Then it will be minus cos square beta is equal to 2 minus 2 sine square beta.
Okay.
And then we take 2 as common. So minus cos square beta is equal to 2 into 1 minus sine square beta.
Okay, very good.
Then we know that the pairs thing, that cos and sine are pair. 1 minus cos theta is equal to sine theta, like that one.
Yeah, 1
We
minus cos square beta is sine square beta. Yeah.
Sine square beta. So that like that we substitute. Then minus cos square beta is equal to 2 cos square beta. Then
Yeah.
2 cos square beta plus cos square beta is equal to 0.
Very good.
Then cos square beta is equal to 0, and then we from the table we know that beta is for
No,
90
cos
degrees
beta.
0.
Cos square beta 0, which means cos beta 0.
Yes, ma'am.
Very good. Yeah. So beta is equal to, so from the table, we find that beta is 90 degrees. Very good. Correct, Arnav.
Ma'am, I also got answer using steps.
Yeah. Or you can also do this. Instead of cos square beta, cos square beta can be replaced with 1 minus sine square beta. Or you can replace sine square beta with 1 minus cos square beta. See, 2 into, let me replace sine square beta with 1 minus cos square beta. Because we know that sine square beta plus cos square beta is 1. 2 open bracket, 1 minus cos square beta, close bracket. 2 into 1 minus cos square beta. Minus cos square beta is equal to 2. So now in this equation, you have only cos beta, that is cos square beta. So when you work, you can find cos beta, and with the help of the table, you can identify the angle. Or you can also change this cos square beta to, you can write cos square beta in terms of sine square beta. Instead of this, you can say 1 minus sine square beta, but be careful, put it in a bracket because there's a minus outside. So minus in a bracket, 1 minus sine square beta, close bracket. Understand, children? Don't understand?
Understood, ma'am.
Understood, ma'am.
Okay.
Understood, ma'am.
Okay. One other way of doing it is what's that? Tell me 2. Please tell me.
2 sine square beta minus cos square beta equals 2, ma'am.
Now 2 you can write in bracket sine square beta plus cos square beta. Yes or no? What is sine square beta plus cos square beta?
1, ma'am.
1.
2 into 1, 2. We are not changing the value of the equation given, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So 2 sine square beta minus cos square beta is equal to 2 sine square beta, open the bracket here, 2 sine square beta plus 2 cos square beta. So what happens when I think 2 sine square beta and 2 sine square beta on either side gets cancelled, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, then you get the same thing. So when this comes here, you get minus 3 cos square beta. Minus 3 cos square beta is equal to 0. Cos square beta is equal to 0. Cos beta is 0. So beta is 90 degrees. You can write 2 as 2 into sine square beta plus cos square beta because it's the same as 2 into 1, which is 2. Prime factors of the denominator of the rational number with decimal expansion 44.123 R.
Ma'am, 2 and 5.
2 and
2 and 5, ma'am.
5.
but how can you guess 2 and 5?
And by using prime factorization.
No, but how do you justify it can be 2 and 5? We don't have any denominator at all, right?
Ma'am, it is terminating.
By
Yeah, it's a terminating decimal. 44, yes, Srinivasan, 44.123 is a terminating decimal. And what are we?
Factors will be 2, 5.
Yeah, so a terminating decimal expansion, it's a terminating decimal. So if the denominator will have prime factors only 2 and 5. It can have only 2, only 5, or both 2 and 5. So prime factors, and you know, even if it is only 5, you can write it as 2 to the power 0 into 5 cubed. Or if 5 is missing, you can say 2 cubed into 5 to the power 0. Which means the prime factors of the denominator can be 2 or 5 or both 2 and 5. Correct, because it's a terminating decimal. 44.123 is a terminating decimal. So what's the P by Q form? 44,44123 by 1000.
1000, ma'am.
Yeah. And the prime factors of 1000 are 2 and 5, but you shouldn't have worked all that. It's as Srinivasan said, it's a terminating decimal. Then the prime factors of the denominator can be only 2, 5, or both 2 and 5. X is equal to A. How will this line look like?
Intersecting.
intersecting.
No, X is equal to A. How will this line look like?
Parallel to y-axis.
Sorry?
Parallel to y-axis.
Parallel to the y-axis. What about y is equal to B?
Parallel to x-axis.
Yeah, so one line is parallel to the y-axis, the other is parallel to the x-axis. So now these two lines will be intersecting, overlapping, parallel, or none?
Intersecting.
Intersecting. Intersecting. Because x is equal to A will be parallel to the y-axis. It can be anywhere. It can be here, or it can be anywhere. It can be here, parallel to the y-axis here or here. And y is equal to B will be parallel to the x-axis. It can be here, or it can be here. It will be parallel to the x-axis. So you can see in any case they'll intersect. In any case they'll be intersecting lines. In fact, these intersecting lines will be perpendicular to each other. These intersecting lines will be perpendicular to each other.
Ma'am, how are they parallel, ma'am?
Now when you take x is equal to 5. Now is x is equal to 5 like x is equal to A? 5 or minus
Yes, ma'am.
5, whatever. So what will you do in the table? What are the values of x? What are the values of x?
5.
5 everywhere. Values for y? Yes, Arnav?
Don't know, ma'am.
You can give any value for y. When x is equal to 5, it means x is always 5 for any value of y. Now when you plot this 5, 1, 5, 1, 5, 2, 5, 3. When you plot these 3 points and connect it, you will see it be a line parallel to the y-axis. So x is equal to a constant. X is equal to a constant is always a line parallel to the y-axis. Y is equal to a constant is always a line parallel to the x-axis.
Okay, ma'am. Got it.
X is equal to a. If an equation is of the form x is equal to a, x is equal to a constant. An equation of the form x is equal to a, where a is a constant, will always be a line parallel to the y-axis. This will be parallel to the y-axis. Y is equal to b. If an equation takes the form y is equal to b, that is y is equal to some constant, then it will always be a line parallel to the x-axis.
Okay, ma'am.
So one line is parallel to the x-axis, the other is parallel to the y-axis. So these two lines will be perpendicular to each other. Or okay, perpendicular or intersecting lines. The word perpendicular is not here, so intersecting lines. What's the formula? Distance formula?
Root of x2
Root
minus
of
x
x2 minus x1 the whole square plus y2 minus y1 the whole square.
Okay, so one point is minus 5, 6 and the other is 0, 0.
It is root 61 units, ma'am.
Root 61 units.
Yes, ma'am. Root 60.
Okay.
Ma'am, it's irrational root.
What's the value of a?
Root 23 by
Root
5.
of
ma'am.
23 by 5.
Root 23 by 5. So root 23 is irrational. So root 23 by 5 is also irrational. What's the relation? What is HCF into LCM equal to?
Product of two numbers, ma'am.
Product of two numbers. What is the
Product of
HCF?
two numbers, ma'am.
What's the HCF?
Ma'am, 2, ma'am.
LCM?
36, ma'am.
36.
So this
2 into 36 is equal to what?
18, ma'am.
Is equal to 2 into 36 is equal to
18x, ma'am.
X into 18, ma'am.
x
18.
into x into 18. Yeah, 18x, correct. Work that and find the value of x.
Ma'am, 4, ma'am.
4, ma'am.
4, okay. LCM into HCF, that is 36 into 2, is equal to product of two numbers, x into 18. When you work that, you will get the value of x. In the tan table, where do you find root 3? Tan of which angle is root 3?
Tan 60 degree, ma'am.
Tan 60 is root 3. What's tan 30?
1 by root 3, ma'am.
1 by root 3. All right. So tan 60 is root 3. So that means the value of A is 60 degrees. The value of A is 60 degrees. And what about the measure of angle C? Angle B is 90. So what's the measure of angle C?
30.
Yeah, B is 90 degrees. Since Angle B is 90, it's given. Angle A, because tan A is √3, from that we understand that A should be 60 degrees, which means C is equal to 30 degrees. Now find cos 60 degrees, cos 30 degrees, minus sine 60 degrees, sine 30 degrees. Work, substitute the values and get the value of this expression.
0.
You worked it, Srinivasan, or you already had the answer?
Yes, ma'am. I worked it, ma'am.
Okay. You're all getting 0, all of you?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
All actually 0. So this is simple. Let angle A be 1x, let angle B be 1x. So angle C is 2x.
Ma'am,
So what's the measure of angle A?
ma'am, 45 degrees, ma'am.
Yeah, x plus 1x plus 1x plus 2x is equal to 180. The sum of the three angles. 1x plus 1x plus 2x is equal to 180. So from that you will get the first angle x is 45 degrees. The second angle is also 45 degrees and the third angle is 90 degrees. X is 45, 2x is 90. So what's the measure of angle A, children?
45 degrees, ma'am.
45.
45,
Angle B,
45 degrees.
45.
angle C.
90.
90 degrees.
Yeah, please substitute. So A and B 45. So find sine 45, cosecant 45 by cosecant 45 minus tan 45 by cot 45.
Ma'am, it is secant.
Secant, I said, okay. Yeah, it's secant 45 degrees by cosecant 45 degrees minus tan 45 degrees by cot 45 degrees.
Ma'am, 0, ma'am.
So it will be, what is the value of secant 45 degrees?
√2, ma'am.
√2, ma'am.
Perfect. Cosecant 45 degrees?
√2, ma'am.
√2. And tan 45?
1.
Cot
1,
45.
ma'am.
1, ma'am.
Yeah, so it will be √2 by √2 minus 1 by 1. So it will be 1 minus 1, 0. 0. Let's work this, children. I'll just get back.
40.
From 40 revolutions.
40, ma'am.
Yes, children, number of revolutions?
40, ma'am.
40, ma'am.
Correct. What's the total distance covered?
176, ma'am.
176.
176 meters. What is the distance covered in one revolution? What's the formula?
4.4.
4.4 meters.
2 pi r.
2 pi
2 pi r. 2 pi r. 2 into 22 by 7 into 0.7. So total distance 176 divided by 2 pi r. You can find the value of 2 pi r separately and then also divide. Okay, so 40. Is what this?
Ma'am, 15, ma'am.
15, ma'am.
15. Yes, Priyadarshini, please explain how 15?
Ma'am, because corresponding sides are proportional, ma'am.
Correct.
Yes, ma'am. BC equals 4, ma'am. So it's coming proportional 1:2, ma'am.
BC is equal to how much?
1/2. BC equals 2, ma'am.
Okay.
EF is 4, ma'am.
Okay.
The proportional is 1/2, ma'am.
Okay. So their ratio BC by EF, that ratio is 1/2. Correct.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Then AB is 3, ma'am. Then ED is 6, ma'am.
Okay.
Then their proportional is also 1/2, ma'am. Then AC is 2.5. DF is 5, ma'am. Their
Okay.
proportional is also 1/2.
Fine. So you found the sides of DEF using the ratio 1:2.
Yes, ma'am.
So you can see that BC and EF are the corresponding sides. BC and EF, because ABC is similar to DEF, BC and EF are the corresponding sides. So what Priyadarshini has noticed is if BC is 2, EF is 4, it's double. And we know the ratio is the same everywhere. The ratio of the corresponding side will be the same in two similar triangles. So her method is if BC is for 2, corresponding side EF is 4. So AB corresponds to DE. If AB is 3, then DE should be 6. If CA is 2.5, then DF should be 5. So she's found the sides of triangle DEF by using that ratio. And to find the perimeter, she's added up the lengths of the 3 sides and got how much, Priyadarshini?
15 centimeters.
15 centimeters, ma'am.
But what's the alternate method? Without finding the sides, what's the alternate method? What is perimeter of triangle ABC by perimeter of triangle DEF equal to?
1/2.
Area of the side square. Some area theorem.
Ma'am, ratio.
Ratio of the?
Ma'am, ratio of the two sides, ma'am.
Yeah, not square. Square is for area. Perimeter is the same as the ratio of the corresponding sides. So perimeter of triangle ABC by perimeter of triangle DEF is equal to how much?
Sides of the ratio of the sides, ma'am.
Yeah, so 2 by 4, BC by EF. BC and EF are the corresponding sides. So BC by EF, which is 1 by 2. 2 by 4, 1 by 2. So now in the new, so that's the, see, I'm saying the proportion is perimeter of ABC by perimeter of DEF is equal to 1 by 2. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Now what's the perimeter of ABC? 3 plus 2, 5, 5 plus 2.5, 7.5. 7.5 by perimeter of DEF is equal to 1 by 2. So on cross multiplying, you will get perimeter of DEF is 7.5 into 2, which is 15. EF, sorry, EF. EF, so BC, remember 2 by 4, which is 1 by 2. The ratio is 1 by 2. So now the perimeter of, now this is the, so this is the proportion. The perimeter of this one by this one is equal to 1 by 2. So perimeter of ABC is 7.5 divided by perimeter of DEF. Perimeter of DEF is equal to 1 by 2, is equal to 1 by 2. So using this proportion, you can find, you don't have to find the length of all the three, meaning the remaining two sides. Perimeter of ABC and DEF are similar triangles. So perimeter of ABC by perimeter of DEF is equal to the ratio of their corresponding sides, BC by EF, which is 1 by 2. So substituting in this proportion and cross multiplying, you can find the perimeter of DEF is 15 centimeters.
Ma'am, 6 centimeter.
6 centimeter.
Okay, is ADE similar to ABC?
Yes, ma'am, it is similar, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
ADE is similar to ABC. So what's the proportion? AD by AB is equal to
DE by D.
D by BC.
D by
D
BC.
EC. Yeah. Now triangle ADE is similar to triangle ABC. So from the similarity of these two triangles, we have AD by AB is equal to DE by BC. AD is 3 by AB is 3 plus 4, 7. 3 by 3 plus 4, 7 is equal to DE, which we don't know, by BC, which is 14. So 3 by 7 is equal to DE by 14. So on working, we'll get DE is 6 centimeters. So one method is, you know, that you can use a right triangle because tan beta is 3 by 4. So you can use a right triangle, fill the values, find the hypotenuse, and using the right triangle, you can find the value of sine beta and cos beta. Substitute and evaluate. Using the right triangle, you can find sine beta, cos beta, then you will substitute, evaluate, and yes, you will get the answer. Now, without using the right triangle, I want you to work this. Please try this without using the right triangle.
Answer 0, ma'am.
Correct? Answer is correct. Please tell me the procedure to work this without using the right triangle.
We want to divide by cos beta, ma'am. So you'll get us 4 into 3 by 4 minus 3, ma'am. So 3 minus 3, 0. So 0 by 3, 0.
You'll have to divide by?
Cos beta, ma'am.
Okay, so what will happen to the numerator when you divide by cos beta?
Ma'am, you will get 4 tan beta minus 3 by 4.
Yeah, 4.
By 4 tan beta plus 3, ma'am. And so 4.
1 minute, yeah. 1 minute, Shakti. So children, we have to divide, we can divide both the numerator and denominator by cos beta. So when you divide the numerator by cos beta, as I said, every term should be divided by cos beta. So 4 sine beta by cos beta is 4 tan beta minus 3 cos beta by cos beta will be minus 3. So 4 tan beta minus 3 divided by, again divide the denominator, every term in the denominator by cos beta. So you'll get 4 tan beta plus 3. Dividing the numerator and denominator by cos beta. So 4 tan beta minus 3 by 4 tan beta plus 3. 4 tan beta is 3 is given to us. For the value of 4 tan beta is 3. So 3 minus 3 by 3 plus 3. So 0 by 6. Which is 0. You can also divide the numerator and denominator by sine beta. You can also divide by sine beta. So then you'll get 4 minus 3 cot beta, cot by 4 plus 3 cot beta. And yeah, when you know tan beta, you can also take tan beta as 3 by 4. So cot beta is 4 by 3. Tan beta is 3 by 4. Tan beta is 3 by 4. So cot beta is equal to 4 by 3. Substitute and get the answer. So that was 0.
Option B, ma'am.
Yes. Shabali Krish, yes.
10x minus 14y is equal to minus 7.
Sorry, please tell me the option A, B, C, D, or E.
D. D for dog.
Yeah, okay. D for dog. Okay. Friends, do you agree?
Yes, ma'am.
What's the ratio everywhere?
Ma'am, it's 1 by 2, minus 1 by 2.
It's minus 1 by 2. Everywhere the ratio is minus 1 by 2. So you'll have to select that equation so that the pair will satisfy A1 by A2 equal to B1 by B2 equal to C1 by C2. So when you take the given equation and the equation in D, when you take up the given equation and the equation in D, in option D, you see that A1 by A2 is equal to B1 by B2 is equal to C1 by C2. And hence, they represent a pair of dependent equations. Okay, that's right. Supposing that asks you to select an equation so that they are intersecting lines, then you must select the equation where A1 by A2 is not equal to B1 by B2. When you select the second equation, you must work and check if A1 by A2 is not equal to B1 by B2. You must choose such an equation where A1 by A2 is not equal to B1 by B2. If they ask you to choose another equation so that the pair is inconsistent, meaning the pair represent parallel lines, then you must choose the equation where A1 by A2 is equal to B1 by B2 but is not equal to C1 by C2. Yes, 11 by 26, is it? Please, yeah, please explain how.
I'm saying there are 11 words. Ma'am, or it's like 2 MLA. So we should consider one.
Just a minute. No, I was just answering to a text message. Sorry, children. Yeah. Yes, 11 by 26. Is it 11 by
No, ma'am,
26?
it's 4 by
4 by
13, ma'am.
13, ma'am.
It's 4 by
4 by
13.
13.
Yeah, how many letters are there in the word mathematics? M-A-T-H-E. You should not count. Should you consider the repeated letters or no?
No, ma'am, you should not take.
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am. No, ma'am, we should not consider.
Because in mathematics, M comes 2 times, but in the English alphabet, it comes only once. In the word, look at the question. A letter from the English alphabet is chosen at random. They are choosing one letter from the set of 26 letters. What is the probability that the letter is a word of, what is the probability that it is a letter of the word mathematics? In the word mathematics, we have M. In the word mathematics, we have the letter M, we have the letter A, we have the letter T, we have the letter H, E. Don't say MA again. That we already said that it has the letter N, it has the letter A, we already said T. So it has I, C, and S. The letters which are there in the word mathematics are M, A, T, H, E, ICS. So MATHEICS makes 8 letters. In the word mathematics, there are 8 letters out of 26 letters in the English alphabet. Totally, in the word mathematics, in all there are 11 letters. In all there are 11 letters. But how many English letters are there? Of the 26 letters, how many letters are there in this word mathematics? 8. You're trying to pick one word. Sorry, you're trying to pick one letter out of the 26 letters in the English alphabet. So what is the probability that it will be a letter which is in the word mathematics? So the word mathematics has 8 letters out of 26 letters. So 4 by 13 is the probability. 4 by 13 is the probability. 8 by 26, which reduces to 4 by 13. A letter of the English alphabet is chosen at random. So you just imagine you're choosing one letter out of the 26 letters. So you have these letters A, B, C, D, E, F till Z in front of you. So you have 26 letters in front of you. You're going to pick one letter from that. So say you pick you're trying to pick one letter from that. What is the chance that that letter which you pick is also a letter in the word mathematics? So the word mathematics has 8 letters. Out of 26, it has 8 letters. So 8 by 26 is the probability, which is 4 by 13. What is the HCF of 12 and 20? Please find. What is the HCF of 12 and 20?
4, ma'am.
4.
4, ma'am.
4, ma'am.
Yeah, so what are the two numbers 12 and 20 in terms of the HCF? It is 4 into 3, 4 into 5, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
When we take the numbers, no, I'll just we'll just discuss this and then you can work. Question number 21. When we take up two numbers like 12 and 20, their HCF is 4. Now the numbers 12 and 20 can be expressed in terms of their HCF. 12 is 4 into 3. HCF is 4. 4 into 3 is 12. 4 into 5 is 20. So you can express the two numbers using the HCF. 4x, 4y. Am I right? 4x, 4y. 4 into 3, 4x. 4 into 5, 4y. That 4 is fixed. That HCF is fixed. 4 into what is x? 4 into what? The other one, y. What's the HCF of 16 and 22? What is the HCF of 16 and 22?
I'm 2, ma'am.
2. How can you express
2, ma'am.
16 in terms of using 2?
2 power 4, ma'am.
2 power 4, ma'am.
2 into no. Okay, we are not doing exponents here, so we're trying. 16 is 2 into 8, correct? And 22?
2 into 11.
2 into 11. So 2 into 8 is like 2x, and 2 into 11 is like 2y. HCF into x, HCF into y. HCF into x and HCF into y will give you the two numbers. Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Now read this. If the sum of two numbers is 1215 and their HCF is 81, so the two numbers are 81x and 81y. The two numbers are 81x and 81y. Is that correct? Agree, disagree? Class, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
No, yeah, you please ask me a doubt. You have something now. I'm saying when the HCF of two numbers is 81, then the two numbers are 81x. 81x is one number, 81y is the other number. Am I right or wrong?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yeah, now what is the sum of the two numbers given? 1215. So that means 81x plus 81y is equal to 1215, correct? Work and tell me x plus y.
X plus Y is 15, ma'am.
15, ma'am.
X plus y is 15, ma'am.
So please understand what we discussed. 81 is the HCF. We are trying to find the two numbers using their HCF. 81, so let 81x or 81a, whatever a and b you can use m and n. So I said let 81x be one number and 81y be the other number. So the two numbers are 81x and 81y. Now their sum is 1215. So 81x plus 81y is equal to 1215 because their sum is given. So from this we have x plus y is equal to what you said, x plus y is equal to
15.
15. Okay, so the sum of these two numbers, not the sum of these two numbers, I'm sorry, the sum of x and y. X and y are not the two numbers, children. The sum of x and y is 15. Now what is the question? Then the possible number of pairs of such numbers are. Yes, now make a guess. What are the different ways in which we can get the sum as 15? 1 plus 4 is 15. 2 plus 13 is 15. Write out the different pairs, children, where you get sum 15. 1 plus 4, that is 1 and 4, 2 and 13. 1 and 14, sorry, 1 and 14, 2 and 13, 3 and 12. Write out the different pairs where you'll get the sum as 15.
Ma'am, 5, ma'am.
5, huh?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, fine. So what are the different ways in getting the sum as? And one more thing you'll have to note is that when we said 81x and okay, let's take that example. When we said for 12 and 16, HCF is, or I think we took 12 and 20. 12 and 20, the HCF is 4. 4 into 3, 4 into 5. Now that 3 and 5, you must see they are co-prime. They'll always be co-prime. Always they'll be co-prime. You take up any two numbers and find their HCF. Take up any two numbers, find their HCF. So now, for example, 35 and 55. 35 and 55. 35 and 55, their HCF is 5. If I'm not wrong, their HCF is 5. 5 into 7, 5 into 11. 5 is the HCF. 5 into 7, 5 into X, 35. 5 into 11, 5 into Y, 55. So what are the values of x and y? 5, 7, so 7 and 11. 7 and 11 are co-prime. 7 and 11 are co-prime. So those numbers, that the numbers x and y will always be co-prime. Co-prime meaning their HCF will be 1. They will not have anything in common. So now here x plus y is 15. 1 and 14 can be a pair. X plus y is 15. So x and y can be 1 and 14. Yeah, they can be because they are co-prime. Then 2, 13. Yes, possible. 3 and 12 not possible because the HCF is 3. I don't know if you're following. So we got x plus y is equal to 15. 1 and 14, 2 and 13, 3 and 12, not possible. 4 and 11, possible. 5 and 10, not possible. Their HCF, they're not co-prime. Their HCF is 5. 6 and 9, no, because their HCF is 3. 7 and 8, possible. 8 and 7 again. 8 and 7 again. 8 and 7. Again, we'll get the same numbers. 9 and 6, 10 and 5, 11. We'll get the same thing. So this is also a repetition. So 1, 2, 3, 4. You cannot take 0 and 15 children because then the number is 81x, right? So it cannot be 81 into 0. So 0 and 15 you cannot take. 114 starts from there. The HCF is 81 children. HCF is 81. So we took the numbers as 81x and 81y. Their sum is 1225, 1215, 1215. So then you all told me on working that you get x plus y is 15. X and y are not the numbers, children. 81x, 81y. X and y are not the numbers. It's 81x, 81y. So that x and y, that sum is 15. And we know that x plus y, x and y are co-prime numbers. You take some of the example to check that. So we checked with the example. We checked with 35 and 55. HCF is 5. 5 into 7, 5 into 11. So 7 and 11 are co-prime numbers. So we have here listed the combinations where the sum can be 15. And we eliminate the combinations where the pair is not co-prime. We eliminate the combinations where the pair is not co-prime. That is co-prime meaning the HCF should be 1. Wherever the HCF is 1, we accept it. Where it's not 1, we reject it. So like that, we get 4 pairs. You should ask me, children, if you don't understand. All right. This is the next one.
Ma'am, 6 square units.
No, I didn't read the question one. Given below is the graph representing two equations. What's the area of the triangle formed? What's the area of the triangle formed by the two lines and x is equal to 0? So is x is equal? Yeah, is x is equal to 0 the x-axis or the y-axis?
Y-axis, ma'am.
Y-axis.
Y-axis. Okay. So what is the base of the triangle? How many units?
6 units.
6. And what's the height?
2.
2.
ma'am.
2. So half into 6 into 2. So 6 square units. What is the equation of the y-axis? What is the equation of the y-axis?
X is equals to 0, ma'am.
What's the equation of the x-axis?
Y is equal to 0.
Y is
Y
equal to 0.
equal to 0. Yeah, now what is the area of the triangle formed by the two lines and y is equal to 0? What's the base? How many units?
3 units.
3 units. And the height?
2 units.
2 units. Yeah, so half into 3 into 2. This is the triangle. This is the triangle formed with the x-axis. That is y is equal to 0. This is the triangle formed with the x-axis. That is y is equal to 0. And this is the triangle formed with the y-axis, which is x is equal to 0. This is x is equal to 0. This is one line. This is the other line. Okay, so this one is 6, as you all said. You just have to count the spaces. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is the base, and the height is 2 units. This is the base of the triangle. 6 units. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And the height is 1, 2 units. So half into 6 into 2.
Ma'am, 2, ma'am.
2, is it? Okay.
Yes.
If tan alpha, yeah, tell me.
Ma'am, for the previous one, which one we chose the base on x-axis or y-axis, ma'am?
1 minute. Yeah. X is equal to 0 is the equation of the y-axis.
Okay.
So we have to take the base as the y-axis. This is the triangle. With the y-axis is the triangle. All right?
Yes, ma'am, got it, ma'am.
So what is tan 45?
1, ma'am.
1, ma'am.
What is cot 45?
1,
1,
ma'am.
ma'am.
1, ma'am.
Yeah, so what is 1 plus 1? 2. So when is tan alpha plus cot alpha 2? when alpha is 45 degrees. When is tan alpha plus cot alpha? No, I'll tell you, we can also work it. This I'm just using the angle and telling. Without using the angle, we'll work and we'll see how we can get it. Tan alpha plus cot alpha is 2. That means alpha is 45 degrees. Because tan 45 is 1, cot 45 is 1, and 1 plus 1 is 2. Do we understand that, children? For alpha is 45 degrees. Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
So tan 45 to the power 20 plus cot 45 to the power 20. Tan 45 to the power 20, cot 45 to the power 20. So
Will be also
tan
2.
45 is 1. 1 raised to the power 20 is 1. 1 into 1 into 1 into 1 20 times is 1. Similarly, cot alpha, cot 45 is 1. 1 to the power 20 is 1. 1 plus 1, 2. So we are given that tan alpha plus cot alpha is equal to 2. So take reciprocals. What is cot alpha? 1 by tan alpha, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, is equal to 2. What happens when we take the LCM?
Tan square alpha plus 1 is equal to 2. By tan alpha by is equal to 2.
Yeah, tan square alpha plus 1. Cross multiply and bring everything to one side. What will you get? Cross multiply and bring everything to one side. What will you get? What is this equal to? It's an identity. Tan square alpha. A square minus 2ab plus b square. Yes or no? Check that. This is nothing but tan alpha minus 1 the whole square. If you expand tan alpha minus 1 the whole square, you will get a square plus b square minus 2ab. So that means tan alpha minus 1 is equal to 0. So tan alpha is equal to 1. Tan alpha is equal to Understand this, children? Alpha is 45 degrees.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
All
ma'am.
right. Okay. So alpha is 45 degrees. So tan 45 to the power 20 plus cot 45 to the power 20. We know tan 45 is 1, cot 45 is 1. 1 power 20 plus 1 power 20. 1 plus 1, 2. Yes, be quick with this. Find x plus y. Special method. Use a special method and find only x plus y. Don't find x minus y. Don't find x and y. Don't find x and y. Just find the equation. X plus y is equal to what? Quick.
I'm fine.
5, ma'am.
5. The LCM of two prime numbers is 221. Two prime numbers is 221. What's the LCM of 5 and 7?
35.
35. What's the LCM of 7 and 11?
77.
77.
Yeah, so when the two numbers are prime numbers, what will be their heads? When the numbers are prime numbers, their LCM will be their product, right? Their product.
Yes.
So yeah, when the two numbers are prime numbers, then their LCM is their product. So the product of two prime numbers is 221. So do that that prime factorization method and tell me the two hidden numbers in 221, the prime numbers in 221. Two 21 is the product of which two prime numbers? Children, not this long. 225 is what? The product of
17 and 13.
17 and 13. Good, Tirnesh. 13 and 17. 13 into 17 is 221. And we see that 13 and 17 are prime numbers. So obviously their LCM is their product, 13 into 17, which is 221. Now, what is the value of P? It's given that P is greater than Q. So what's the value of P?
17.
17.
Because P is greater. So which is greater of 13 and 17? 17. So P is 17. What is Q then?
13.
13. Now find 3P minus Q.
$38, ma'am.
38. Okay. So 221 can be broken down into 13 and 17. 17, 13. Yeah, 17, 13s are 221. So we observe that 13 and 17 are both prime numbers, and hence Their LCM is their product. P is greater than Q, so the value of P is 17 and the value of Q is 13. And 3P minus Q is 38. A card is drawn from a well-shuffled deck of cards. What is the probability that the card drawn is neither a king nor a queen? That is, you're saying, I don't want a queen, I don't want a king. What's the probability that the card is neither a king? You don't want a king, you don't want a queen. So you're favorable. So if you get a king or a queen, that's not your favorable outcome. Favorable is other than king and queen. See, the formula to find the probability of the happening of an event is the probability of the happening of an event. What you want to happen, not what you don't want to happen. What do you want to happen? So probability of the happening of an event is the number of favorable outcomes for that event to happen by the total number of outcomes. So what's the probability that the card drawn is neither a king nor a queen? Okay, you don't want a king or a queen. So what do you want? You want something. It's the same as not getting a king or a queen. It's the same as getting, excuse me, children. Yeah, so we don't want a king, we don't want a queen. So how many kings, children? How many kings?
Four.
How many queens?
Four.
So totally 8. You don't want these 8 cards. So what do you want then? You want 52 minus 8. So the remaining, yeah, so
44.
favorable for you.
44 by 52, ma'am. So
44.
4 by 13.
What is favorable? That's what you
11 by
say.
13.
11 by
11 by 13.
11 by 13, ma'am.
Very good. Okay. So 44, you want one of these 44 cards out of 52. Denominator is always a total number of cards. So 52. Denominator is 52 fixed. Numerator should be what you want. You want one of the 44 cards. Your favorable outcomes should form the numerator. So 44 by not 8 by 52. These 8 cards you don't want. Probability of the happen. See, the probability, we define probability for the happening of an event. What do you want to happen? You don't want king or queen to happen. So then what do you want to happen? Something other than king or queen. So how many favorable? 52 minus 8, 44 cards, you will be happy. If you get one of those 42 cards, you will be, sorry, if you get one of those 44 cards, you will be happy. So that one in the numerator, 44 by the total 52. Which simplifies to 11 by 13. Okay, when I see this now, I just want to, 1 second. Children, now here, can you see what do you call these numbers along the diagonal?
Doublet, ma'am.
Doublet. Doublet, yeah, doublet. They're called doublets. So 6 doublets are possible out of 36 outcomes. Now, what you observe, we're just going to understand what we observe. Now, these are called ordered pairs. Ordered pairs. Because the order is important. 2, 1. That means 2 on the first die. And 1 on the second die. Children, what is the probability that you get no, I think we don't have time, so let me just tell you the difference. See, the getting some number on the first die and getting some other number on the second die is different from getting a number on one die and another die. One die, another. See, okay, if I say 1 on one die and 2 on the other die, what are the possible outcomes? 1 on one die and 2 on the other die. What are the possible outcomes? Favorable outcomes, sorry. If I want 1 on the first die and 2 on the second die, that's different from getting 1 on one die and 2 on the other die. Let me only give you the difference. When I say I want to get 1 on the first die and 2 on the second die, then the favorable outcome is only 1, 2, because 1 on the first die, 2 on the second die. But if we say 1 on one die and 2 on the other die, can be even 2, 1, because here 1 on one die and 2 on the other die. One die, other die is different from first die, second die. See, like if we say getting an even number on the first die and odd number on the second die, so that means even should be only on the first die and odd should be on the second die. But if we say even on one die and odd on the other die, you get the difference, children?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, be careful in selecting the favorable outcomes there. When they say first die and second die, you should, that order is important. First die, second die. But when they say one die, other die, even number on one die, odd number on the other die, one die, other die is different from first die, second die. One die, other die means, okay, that if we say there should be an even number on one die and odd number on the other die, that means that ordered pair should have a combination of even and odd. It can be even, odd or odd, even. Even number on one die, odd number on the other die. So that means there should be a combination of even and odd. It can be even, odd or odd, even. But when they say first die, second die, that order becomes important. That's one thing. And also what we see below and above the diagonal of doublets. Okay, what we see below and above is, we see the ordered pairs below the diagonal. See the ordered pairs below the diagonal. Everywhere you will see that the first number is greater than the second number. Children, let me just finish this and wind up the class. I know it's time. When we look at, in all we have 36 outcomes. When we roll 2 dice, in all we have 36 outcomes. And there are 6 outcomes along the diagonal. Along the diagonal, there are 6 outcomes. So 36 minus 6, 30. Divide by 2, 15. There will be 15 outcomes below the diagonal, 15 outcomes above the diagonal. When 2 fair dice are rolled, we in all get 36 outcomes. We have 6 outcomes along the diagonal. 36 minus 6, 30. 30 divided by 2, 15. So you'll have 15 outcomes below the diagonal and 15 outcomes above the diagonal. See here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And 15 above the diagonal. And what you also observe is that in all the outcomes below the diagonal, the first entry is greater than the second entry. And above the diagonal, what you see that the first entry is smaller than the second entry. Okay, so children, if we take x as the first number and y as the second number, we can bring 3 cases. X is equal to y, x is less than y, x is greater than y. If x is the number on the first die and y is the number on the second die, if X is the number on the first die and Y is the number on the second die, when we say X is equal to Y, how many outcomes?
6, ma'am.
6.
Outcomes. And X less than Y, how many outcomes? X less than Y?
15, ma'am.
15.
X greater than Y?
15, ma'am.
15.
15. So where do you find X less than Y? Below or above?
Above, ma'am.
Above.
X less than Y. X is less than Y. The first number is less than the second number. It's above the diagonal. Where do you see the first number greater than the second number? X greater than Y?
Below, ma'am.
Below.
On the diagonal. So such questions also may be asked. So just remember that X is equal to Y is 6. X less than Y, X greater than Y, 15 each. So 15 plus 15, 30 plus 6, 36. And now we'll answer this this question and wind up today's session. 2 fair dice are rolled simultaneously. The probability that 5 will come up at least once is. So you want 5 at least once. That's what you wish to happen. You want 5 at least once. So let's count where all we get 5. Where all do you get a 5? At least once. At least once means once or more than once. At least once is 1 or more than 1. That is more than 1 means you should get 5 on one die or both the dice. Getting 5 at least once. You are rolling 2 dice.
There are 11 outcomes.
Getting 5 at least once. At least once means at least on one die or both the dice. Both the dice will be very happy. Or at least one die. So 1, 5, 2, 5, 3, 5, 4, 5, and all this here 5, 1, 5, 2, 5, 3, 5, 4, 5, 5, 5, 6, and 6, 5. So how many outcomes? 1, 2,
11.
4,
11.
5 plus 6. So 11 by 36.
11 by.
Yeah. All right, children. So I have assigned all the papers that we have discussed. I've scheduled it as an exam in the portal. You should have found it. And I also told you that you can just give 1 or 2 answers and submit your paper and view the results. View the solutions, because you may not have time to solve everything. So you can just go through with the help of the solutions. You can go through the questions. Now for this particular paper which we are discussing now, I haven't still uploaded the solutions. I'll do it by tomorrow morning. So I'll schedule, I think the exam is already available in the portal. I think I scheduled it for 9 o'clock today, but you will not be able to see the answers, children. I'm still to do it. So if you take up this exam sometime tomorrow, if you open the exam in the portal sometime tomorrow, I would have uploaded the answers, so you can just give a sample. You can just attempt a few questions, submit it, and see the solutions. All right, so this one has in all 50 questions. How many have we finished? We finished only 28. There are 50 questions in all, so you can help yourself with the solutions. All right, children, so that's it for today's session. Thank you so much. You may leave the call.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, children. Good night.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, children. Thank you.